You are now listening to Limited Trust, a Devastator podcast. Let's get into it.
Episode 11, Limited Trust, a Devastator podcast. Welcome back, everyone. I am yet again in a different fucking room trying to work it out. So I do apologize if every week the fucking quality here, the sound quality is different or varying. Well, this week I was thinking, actually all week I've been thinking about all kinds of shit. And I was thinking about, as stupid as this might sound, I guess, getting older. I turned 36 in September, which some people are listening going, that's not old. And other people are listening going, fucking old ass bitch. So I've been thinking about that a lot. And with my brother getting home last Friday, which was successful, I was always thinking about him while he was gone. But it's brought up a lot of memories of us being young and stuff. And I sit and think about all the fun that we had. And then I think, like, that kind of shit doesn't really happen to me anymore. And it kind of bums me out sometimes. And I do this a lot, really. Mainly driving. I got an hour commute to and from work, and I'll have all these old songs playing. And songs sometimes fire up the memory banks, and you start thinking about, I remember we were doing this, or we were driving there, or I was going here. And so I've been thinking about, like, getting old and things not being the same, which, I mean, is a good thing, I guess, because if you just get stuck in that same rut, you're never going to really experience anything new. It's just going to be the same thing over and over again. But it kind of led me, as you know by listening to this, it kind of led me down a string of a thought tree of all kinds of shit, and kind of brought me to regret. And a lot of people like to pretend that they're the no regrets guy, I got no regrets, blah blah blah, this is the way it was supposed to be. I, on the other hand, I have a ton of regrets. I have learned to actually kind of deal with things like that, because they do bother me so much. And I'm definitely not somebody who would say, if I could do it all again, I would do it the same about everything. Because some of the worst mistakes I ever made in my life, I definitely regret. I've treated some people poorly. I've done some things, made poor choices that, if presented again, there's a good chance that I would do differently. And it makes me think about, all kinds of, like, and you guys are getting more familiar with how my brain works. It kind of, it leads to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing when I'm thinking. And I'm like, man, I would have done this different, or I would have done that different. And you know how I feel about that as well, as, well, it's done now. So, but I do regret a lot of things, and I don't fault you if you do as well. Things that you regret, obviously, were probably, in hindsight, poor choices, and it's hard to you always try to justify the choices that you made after you've made them, and after the consequences, or after it's done and it happens. You say, well, I had no other choice, I had to do this, or I had to do that. But really, most of the things I regret, I had a choice, whether it be in a split second, or whether it was something I really thought about and just did the wrong thing overall. I did have a choice, and you can tell along my fucking path in life where I made the wrong choices, and where I use either because of ignorance or laziness, or choosing the path of least resistance, or just greed or selfishness. And I've been trying to work on that and actually make choices that are good not only for myself but for everyone else, which kind of actually led me to like this the Zippo lighter drop, something simple, just another drop that we do. But when I did the first 5, the Navy ones, a lot of people got a hold of me and they were like, I didn't grab it in time, I really want one of those, and I feel bad when stuff like that happens. And I know, some people are quicker to it than others, but some people just don't have it right then. Like me, I couldn't do that right now. If I wanted to go buy something like that, I would have to really think about it and weigh it up and look at my finances. So that's why I did the second drop with the unlimited 1 month. You will still have a one of however many pieces, because at January 6th, when that comes, they're done. But I wanted to give ample opportunity for either people to get them as gifts for other people, or after they were done with the old gift giving season, to be able to get one when they free up some funds or whatever. So that was my thought process behind that, and it was trying to make it so everybody could have a whack at something cool. But regret, man, I do regret a lot of things. I think about things I should have said, or I regret saying, or drugs I regret doing, or and I had choices. I had a lot of choices in front of me. I had a lot of opportunities in front of me where I just said, I'll do it later, or I'll do it this way, or I'll do it that way. And I did know that wasn't the right way to do it. I did know that it was going to save me 5 minutes or $5 or I wasn't going to be able to get drunk that night if I did this, or maybe I should have made that phone call when the time came. So this is kind of hypocritical of me, but try not to get caught up in regret. It is okay to regret. That's growth. When you regret things, you're growing. You kind of know that what I did in this scenario wasn't really the right thing to do, or you can reflect on these regrets and say, all right, well, I won't let that happen again. I wish I would have hopped in that car when my mom was sitting with that kid and sat with my mom. Or I wish I would have done more. I regret that I froze, that I was scared. I didn't want to see another dead body. I don't know why. It definitely wasn't the last one that I said, shit, I seen one like a month ago. So it wasn't like, oh, maybe if I don't look, this will be the last dead body I ever see. Because that definitely wasn't the case. Shit, I almost made a couple after that. But anyway, another thing that I regret, maybe if I wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't have caused my fucking family and myself so much turmoil. There's a lot of things, a lot of ways I treated people that I think about. I should have treated people different. So moving on from regret, the other thing I want to talk about was mental health, man. Dealing with all the stuff that I've just been dealing with 18 months ago, prior to my brother leaving, and then him being gone, and then now getting him back. I'll have to talk to him more once he's more baselined and see if that's a story that he really wants me sharing all of. But as of right now, I can share the basics, and why I think mental health is very important, and why a lot of people deal with it quietly. And mental health coupled with drug addiction is even worse. A lot of people think that maybe drug addiction on top of mental health is the way the person tries to keep their sanity or whatever, and which is fucking definitely not the case. Definitely, and especially in this case, that is not the fucking way. my brother never had an illness before. And when I say my brother, that term gets thrown around a lot, and we're not blood family. But my mother took him in as children, as a child, and that's how he became my brother. My mother took him in when he was, for lack of a better term, his parents or his mother, who he was staying with, didn't really care whether he came or went or who he was with or whatever, and she ended up taking him in, and we subsequently came up together. And so he, back in, I think it's either 2018 or 2019, an incident happened, multiple incidents all at once with him. And it was a big surprise to everybody, because at first when it happened, I was trying to figure out if the things he was saying were true, because they made so much sense, and he had a zero history of mental illness. But as time went on, in a very short period, within a half an hour, I realized that something is really, really wrong here. It started off somewhat tame, but believable. But then as he continued on, then I understood. And that's where that journey started. And it went bad quickly. And then he was gone. And so that being said, if you're ever feeling wrong, if you're ever feeling off, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. And especially someone that you care, or someone that you care about or that you trust, don't be afraid to reach out to them and say, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. This is not my opinion. This is what I think. Because, an opinion could be, my opinion differs from your opinion, but something that you're actually thinking, like, are these birds and dogs talking to me? That is something that other people might not be thinking. If you're thinking things, or that people are watching you, or that, the phone is tapped, or the car is tapped, or that car is following you, don't be afraid to ask somebody else if they feel like that is happening as well. Because what I'm learning about mental illness is that you don't know that it's happening, because it all does seem very real. And I've watched this, I've observed this, I've lived with this, not personally, but one degree of separation away. And I've talked to, and now at this point, many mental health professionals, and delusions are real, and they're scary. And I remember it being described to me as like a nightmare that you keep, you're hoping to wake up from, but really that's you driving around the city doing wild shit. So don't be afraid, and don't hesitate to ask for the help that's necessary. And also, since he's come back from living a fucking massively hard life the last 18 months and being off the radar and almost untraceable, his standards of living are extremely low, which was a humbling experience to me, being that when he left, he was more of a vain kind of dude, and now it's like an entirely different person, in the sense of where those typical, how your hair looks, or how this looks, or how your shirt looks, it doesn't even matter anymore. And going from one extreme to the next, it was a real eye opener all at once when he came back and was at my house. And it really made me take a look around and say, things that I was down about, are they really that bad? is not having this really that bad? Is the fact that I drive a minivan really that bad? You remember you used to be that dude, now you're minivan man, you know what I mean? And no, man, it's not. None of that stuff is bad. Is your food choice of brand name foods? Oh, I only like Velveeta. I don't like the bootleg. Man, my eyes have been open, and all of this stuff has been right in front of me my entire life. But only now that I see somebody that I have related to my entire life, he fucking doesn't care and I understand it. I understand that the difference between starving and not is a dumpster away. And in your right mind, you might say, I'd never do that. But in an altered state, with starvation on your mind, I think your options are really open at that point. So with all this happening the last week, it's kind of made me think about the way I go about things and the way I buy things, the way I, and it will continue to change a lot, the way I operate, because I've been holding myself up to these personal standards in my mind of how to be, and they're not crazy. I'm super cheap, but there's a lot of things that I could definitely go without, or that I could go without a certain type of them, or I could go with a less expensive type. And it was something to learn, really. It was really something. And I appreciate everyone also that was aware of this story, and that reached out, and people that helped me, and people that thought about this, and people who were actively checking in to see how the search was going, or that really means a lot to me. And I'll continue to keep everybody updated as we try to get Paulie back in a good place and get his life back together, because we're definitely starting from the bottom again. And I'll figure it out. We will figure it out together. And drugs are a motherfucker, man. I can't stress enough. Like, if you're having a fucking issue with drugs, fucking say something. And I was watching something on YouTube, I think, a week or two ago. And this has always been a term that's bothered me, is when people say, like, drug addiction is a disease. It's a disease. And that's like a fucking, to me, this is my opinion, that's like a fucking blanket term for justifying, fuck bullshit. I don't believe drug addiction is a disease. I fucking don't. Like, cerebral palsy is a fucking disease, something that you have no control over. Cancer is a disease. If you were born on a fucking remote island and abandoned there, and you were by yourself, I can't say that this overwhelming urge to do drugs would overtake you, and you would end up trying to smoke everything in sight, but you could be born and live on an island and get cancer, like that could happen. I mean, I guess you could have some overwhelming urge to do drugs, but no, that's a learned behavior. That's, drugs are bad, and addictive personalities are bad, but it's not a disease. Stop trying to justify why you're fucked up. I was fucked up for a long ass time, and I never said, like, I have no control over this. I fucking had all kinds of control. I didn't have to get the drugs out of the fucking toilet after I dropped them in in a toilet full of piss. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to get all fucked up, drunk, fucking being a total mess, embarrassing my family and my friends. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do any of that. Nobody fucking jammed that straw fucking by my nose and made me snort fucking heroin. Nobody made me do that. I fucking said, let me see that shit, It wasn't a disease. It wasn't just like this impulse to fucking do things. It was a choice that I made, and it was a bad choice. And you know what? It was a choice I regret as well. I regret doing all that. I regret checking certain boxes off this list that I could say I did or I didn't do. So chill with that shit. If you're justifying a bunch of addiction, that should be like your first step to admitting that you have a fucking problem. And certain types of addiction are fine. I mean, I don't want to, maybe I shouldn't say fine, but they're manageable, or they're, widely accepted. Some people drink fucking 5 Monster energy drinks a day. Is that good for you? Probably not. But is anyone at the store going to say, whoa, bro, you've been in here 5 times today. You might want to chill, You might want to, no one's going to do that. But you always got to keep these things in mind when you're dealing with anything, It's not a disease. You don't have a monster drinking disease, dog. You want to drink fucking Monster? Stop playing with me. Well, what else? What else do we got? What the fuck else do we got to talk about today? I'm trying to think. I don't really have much. That's been about it, man. It's okay to regret. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be unsure. It's okay to dive in. But you gotta think about things. My stomach is fucked up, man. I can't wait to go back on this fucking diet, because ever since I got off this diet, I have been like all fucked up in my stomach. I feel like I just got like a constant rock in my belly, and no matter what, it just doesn't go away. So after Christmas, we're dumping the fucking carbs again, because I actually just felt better all the way around. I wasn't eating great as far as flavor goes. I wasn't fucking taking a train to Flavor Town every day for show, but I figured it out. Be grateful, man. Be grateful for everything that you have. Look around you. It could be a lot worse. There's always worse off. And hold those people close to you, because you never know when they're going to fucking commandeer a rental car and drive it across the country and disappear. Because it could happen. I didn't think that it could happen to me in a million years. I didn't think anything like that would ever happen to any of us. I still have, like, as he's home, I'm reminded constantly that he was gone, and that things are way different than they were. And it's going to be a long process to try to get things back to the baseline. And the baseline, it isn't going to be the same as it was at one time. And these are the joys of getting older, And the joys of responsibility, and the joys of being responsible for things that necessarily in a different situation you wouldn't be responsible for. So, all that being said, man, make sure you go get the matte black Zippo lighter. Because after January 6th, God, you fucking out with that shit, boy. Nah, but really though, man, I do appreciate you guys fucking hanging in there. Yo, I'm fucking big in Germany, dog. Real shit, son. They know me in Germany. I love my dudes from Germany. I love my European dudes. I mean, I love all you guys, man. I really do. It means a lot to me. I'm about to get these guests coming too, boy. We got Taro coming. We about to have fucking Joe Stopa coming. We're about to have my mom coming, because I know a lot of people always ask about my mom and shit. And I think I'm going to get her to sit down. Silo, he said he might be coming, boy. Shit. We'll just be, basically, him and I just be talking shit all the time. So that would be funny. If you're local or you're going to be in the area, fucking hit me up. The Zoom stuff, we might do something like that with Machine Studio or something. We might try to figure that out somehow. But if I could sit down with you in person somewhere, that would be the ultimate thing. And, let's figure it out. What else? I got nothing, man. That's it. So hopefully the quality on this turns out all right. I'm in a different area, and again, I just can't get everyone to go to fucking school. Like, why can't we just be on a regular fucking thing? Why can't we just do what we're supposed to do? Why? What's the fucking big deal? I don't know. All right, that's all I got. Love you guys, man.